Spain have made it into the semi-finals of the UEFA Nations League after a nervy penalty shootout victory over the Netherlands, which came after a 5-5 aggregate scoreline across two legs. In Thursday's first leg in Rotterdam, Spain found the opening goal inside the opening 10 minutes, and they did so again at the Mestalla. On this occasion, Mikel Oyarzabal was fouled inside the penalty area by Jean-Paul Van Heck, and that allowed the Real Sociedad captain to step up and score from 12 yards. La Roja would hold their lead until halftime, but on 54 minutes, they were pegged back. Robin Lenormand was adjudged to have fouled Memphis Depay inside Spain's penalty area, and that gave the opportunity for the former Barcelona and Atletico Madrid striker to score, which he managed to do. 15 minutes later, Spain would find themselves back in front, and it was Oyarzabal that scored again after he was set up following great work in the build-up from Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams on the counter-attack, which ended in the 27-year-old heading home after his initial effort was saved. However, La Roja could not hold on to book their place in the Nations League semi-finals as the Dutch found another equalizer, with defender Ian Motson blasting past Spain goalkeeper Unai Simon from inside the penalty area to restore parity on the night and on aggregate. That goal meant that extra time was needed at the Mestalla, and in the first half of the additional 30 minutes, Spain thought that they scored the winning goal in the tie, and it was a special one from Barcelona winger Lamine Yamal. It was a wonderful pass over the top from Dean Huijsen, and the 17-year-old controlled brilliantly before firing into the far corner. But again, they were pulled back into a stalemate as Xavi Simons netted a penalty to make it 3-3. That meant penalties were required, and it was Unai Simon that came up clutch at the end to save Daniel Malin's effort. That gave Pedri the chance to secure the victory for Spain, and he did, with La Roja winning 5-4 in the shootout. And it means that they will take on France, who also won a penalty shootout in their quarterfinal tie against Croatia, in the semi-finals this summer, before a possible final against Portugal or Germany. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Portugal's Francisco Trincao came off the bench to score twice, and Cristiano Ronaldo also netted as they beat Denmark 5-2 after extra time on Sunday for a 5-3 aggregate win that sent them through to the Nations League semi-finals, where they will face Germany. The win also means that it will be the Portuguese who will be the top seeds in the Republic of Ireland's 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying group, which also features Hungary and Armenia. The boys in green will face Portugal away on the 11th of October, while they will host the Euro 2016 winners on the 13th of November. With the Danes leading the tie 1-0 thanks to Rasmus Højlund's goal in Thursday's first leg in Copenhagen, Ronaldo won and then missed an early penalty before Portugal took the lead on the night in the 38th minute thanks to an own goal from Danish defender Joachim Andersen. That goal was cancelled out by a Rasmus Christensen header in the 56th minute, and though Ronaldo gave the home side the lead again with a finish from a tight angle, Christian Eriksen put Denmark back in front on aggregate in the 76th minute. Trincao then took over, scoring in the 86th minute to make it 3-3 on aggregate and force extra time before netting again in the 91st, with Goncalo Ramos adding Portugal's fifth to send them through to a Final Four meeting with Germany, who beat Italy 5-4 on aggregate. France advanced to the semi-finals of the UEFA Nations League in dramatic fashion, winning a penalty shootout on Sunday evening. It was apparent from the opening 15 minutes of the match that France were eager to get themselves in front early on to give themselves as good of a chance as they could possibly have of getting back into the match, with the aggregate scoreline being 2-0 to the visitors. The urgency was clear in both Kylian Mbappé and Aurélien Tchouaméni went close to scoring in the opening stages of the match, but both players' attempts went just wide of the target. In the 38th minute, the home side produced their best chance of the match so far, but Bradley Barcolla's shot was denied by an excellent save from Dominik Livakovic. Michael Olise, who up to this point was one of France's most dangerous creative threats, played a tidy through ball to Barcola, who couldn't slot it near enough in the corner. The first half ended 0-0, but it was very clear that Croatia were going to have to continue their defensive stubbornness in the second half as France were constantly knocking on the door and creating a lot of goal-scoring opportunities. The deadlock was finally broken for the hosts in the 52nd minute through a brilliant free kick from Olise. The Bayern Munich man had been the best player on the pitch up to this point and thoroughly deserved his goal. The Croatian goalkeeper, Livakovic, had absolutely no chance of stopping Olise's strike and was rooted to the spot. In the 80th minute, France finally completed their comeback. The home side were dominant for pretty much all of the match, and after good link-up play down the right wing between Mbappé and Olise, Ousmane Dembele, who up to this point was having one of his quietest performances of the season, slotted a tidy right-footed finish into the bottom corner. once again leaving Livakovic rooted to the spot. Despite lots of late French pressure, Croatia managed to hold on and sent the match to extra time, with the aggregate score at 2-2. Aside from a late volleyed attempt from Mbappe in the last few minutes of the second period of extra time, the match pretty much kept its theme of Croatia being quite difficult to break down but France looking like the only team who was going to score. The extra time period ended with the match still 2-0 to France but 2-2 on aggregate, which meant a place in the semi-finals of the Nations League was going to be decided by penalties. The shootout was as dramatic as they come, and the overall quality of penalties wasn't great at all. Theo Hernandez, Jules Kounde and Franjo Ivanovic all skied their penalties pretty much in the exact same position, but it was Mike Maignan who was the star of the shootout. The AC Milan goalkeeper saved the penalties, helping his side win the shootout 5-4, with Deota Upamecano scoring the winner, sending France through to the semi-finals in dramatic fashion. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Germany have reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Nations League for the first time. Following their first leg victory in Milan, Germany drew 3-3 with Italy in the second leg in front of 64,760 spectators in Dortmund. Their semi-final match against Portugal will be played in Munich on the 4th of June. The final will also take place in the Bavarian city 4 days later. As he had done in the first leg, head coach Julian Nagelsmann picked Oliver Baumann in goal. Jonathan Tah, Antonio Rudiger and Nico Schlotterbeck made up the back three. Angelo Stiller and Leon Goretzka started in midfield, while captain Joshua Kimmich right and Maximilian Mittelstadt left operated on the flanks. Leroy Sane and Jamal Musiala formed the front three with striker Tim Kleindienst. Neither side needed time to settle into the game, and both started with a high tempo. Germany threatened Italy's goal for the first time with a Goretzka shot from around 17 yards out too. The visitors had their first chance 2 minutes later, when Giovanni Di Lorenzo fired a cross into the box, but Tah acrobatically cleared it away from goal. The ball changed hands regularly from the start, and it immediately developed into a hard-fought encounter with countless duels and plenty of attacking intent. In the 15th minute, a Kimmich corner caused chaos in the Italian box. Visiting goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma was unable to punch away his delivery, which allowed Kleindienst, Tah and Rudiger to get to the ball. However, none of them could force it over the line. This was followed by a phase of pressure from Germany, who pressed high and dominated possession. The hosts launched wave after wave of attacks, and eventually got their reward. After a quick passing move, Goretzka played it through to Kleindienst on the right of the penalty area. The striker got to the ball, but was fouled by Italy defender Alessandro Buongiorno, leaving the Polish referee Marciniak with no other option but to point to the spot. Captain Kimmich took on the responsibility and calmly slotted the penalty into the bottom left-hand corner 30. Germany were not in the mood to give the visitors any breathing space, and won the ball back almost immediately from kickoff. Mittelstadt got to the byline and lifted a cross onto the head of Goretzka, who nodded just over the bar. A few minutes later, Rudiger got himself forward and crossed from the right towards Kleindienst, who expertly directed a header towards the top right corner from around 11 yards out. Donnarumma though produced a world-class save to tip the ball over the bar for a corner. While Italy were setting up in the penalty area, Kimmich took the corner short and gave the ball to Musiala, who was free to turn it into an empty net from close range. Just before the halftime whistle, Schlotterbeck won the ball back, and it eventually found its way to Kimmich on the right. He had plenty of space and time to clip the ball into Kleindienst, who headed home. Nagelsmann sent his team out for the second half and changed. The Squadro Azzurra started the second period the better, and scored almost immediately. Sane played a loose pass towards Kimmich, which allowed Moise Kean to get to the ball. The Italy striker ran through on Baumann's goal before coolly slotting into the bottom left-hand corner. Germany struggled to regain their dominance in the first few minutes after halftime. Mittelstadt shot straight at Donnarumma from around 11 yards out on the turn. Nagelsmann made 3 changes just after the hour mark. Nadim Amiri and Pascal Gross replaced central midfielders Stiller and Goretzka, while Karim Adeyemi came on for Leroy Sane. Germany though were still unable to free themselves from the Italian pressure. Kean then worked himself some space in the penalty area and curled the ball into the far corner to cut the deficit further. The Squadro Azzurra nearly had the chance to equalize immediately after when they were awarded a penalty, but VAR overturned the decision. Nagelsmann sent on Robert Endrick and debutant Jan Arlbisic in place of Musiala and Rudiger for the closing stages. Schlotterbeck then dribbled into the penalty area and won a free kick on the edge of the box, which Kimmich struck low past the wall, but it was saved by Donnarumma. Kleindienst and Gross could have put any lingering doubts to bed with a counterattack, but Kleindienst was just missing that bit of energy. Instead, the referee suddenly went over to the VAR screen and awarded a penalty to Italy for a handball by Mittelstadt following an earlier corner. Giacomo Raspadori converted and Italy had a late equalizer. There was only 1 minute left on the clock though, and Germany survived without the opponents recording another shot. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.